Hey guys, and welcome to my next top 10 video. I guess I like to mix it up with whatever shows I'm going to be talking about in my next video, keep you guys guessing. And yes, I am very aware that there's probably quite a few of you that don't give a shit about this video, and that it's only going to get like 30 views. But for those of you who are subscribed to me and love Stargate Atlantis as much as I do, stay tuned. Obviously, spoilers will happen, so if for some reason you want to watch it and weirdly haven't yet, because it's been out for a while, but don't watch this video. Okay, Stargate fans, let's do this. Number 10 of my favorite Stargate Atlantis episodes is The Siege Part 1 and Part 2. I said Part 1 and Part 2 just because I didn't really feel like saying Part 1, 2, and 3. I guess mostly just Part 2. I don't know. Anyway, I thought that the first season wrapped up really, really well with kind of the first showdown of the Wraith, which was, I don't know, pretty epic. And I included both Part 1 and Part 2 basically because though Part 2 had more of the action and the Marines showed up with their big ass guns and it was crazy and they're like, no, we're gonna make a final stand, and I was really into that. Part 1 had that really, I thought, fairly unforgettable moment with, I believe his name was Peter, staying behind at the satellite when Rodney and those two other guys went to go fix it and to kind of give them kind of a fighting chance against the incoming Wraith, and he sacrificed himself, and it was a really, really sad moment and probably one of the first kind of very emotional moments we got within the series. But yeah, the whole thing was kind of really awesome and epic, and the fact that O'Neill kind of sent the Marines to be like, no, we're gonna try to hold Atlantis, was awesome and amazing. And I thought the cliffhanger was really good and kept you guessing until next season rolled around. It was just a great episode. Number 9 on my list is The Prodigal. Am I saying that right? Oh God, I don't even know. But that is the one where Michael comes. It's kind of the final showdown with Michael, and he comes looking for Tayla and her baby, and basically all of Atlantis is trying to protect them while also dealing with Michael and his crazy ass, like, you know, we've been dealing with for the entire series. I always thought the Michael story was super intriguing. I did really like that episode where we first find out about Michael, and I don't think it made the cut on this list, but it was very close. I thought it was very well done. He did get kind of annoying after a while and super obsessive with Tayla, but the kind of one of the ending scenes where him and John are fighting and she finally shows up to, one, save John, but also just to end this once and for all. It was a very emotional scene, but also an insanely satisfying scene to just see Michael just fall to his death, like, bye, nobody's really gonna miss you that much. Number 8 might be slightly obscure for some of you, and that is Missing. This is the episode, if you remember, where Tayla and Keller got kind of stranded and basically had to like fight for their lives. The moment that really stuck out to me in this episode, which the whole episode kind of deals with them learning a lot from each other, mainly Keller learning a lot from Tayla and how to survive. She's going to be put in these kind of terrible situations over and over again, and she needs to learn how to kind of step up. But was when Tayla was trying to kind of like prep Keller for torture after they were captured, that scene just always stuck with me and was just such a jarring but also really beautiful scene where Taylor is really trying to help Keller. I just love the dynamic between the two throughout the entire episode, and I know that's probably kind of an obscure one, but I really, really like that episode. Number 7 is the series finale. I think the series finale really wrapped up the show very, very well. It basically made, kind of the final episode about the literal protection of Earth. There was kind of always a theme throughout the series. You didn't want to let the Wraith get the location to Earth, but now it's like literally we have to protect Earth, which was kind of, I think, a great way to end it, even though I was not happy to see it end after just 5 seasons. I know some people might think that's a long time. I could have seen more. Carson was back and Todd was back, and there were just so many moments that showcased almost every single one of these characters, which was absolutely amazing. And I thought it was a really good series finale, which a lot of shows don't accomplish very well. Number 6 is the Tao of Rodney. Whenever I talk to most fans about Rodney, you either love him or you hate him. I feel like there's no in between because he's such kind of an abrasive character. I love him. He's not my favorite, but I definitely like him. In this episode, kind of really reversed all of his kind of selfishness or his ego that he always seems to have. He had to learn, he kind of accidentally became an ancient and had to learn how to ascend or he would die. And this is all about him kind of showing that he actually does listen to everybody. The goodbye scenes were just tough. My personal favorite was when he said goodbye to Ronan and healed his scars. Oh, I love that scene. And it kind of showed that he does actually care about all of these people, and it was kind of, I felt like, one of the big turning points for him as a character. Number 5 is Search and Rescue. That's the 5th season premiere. It basically just showed, again, how much of a family this team really is, and John and Rodney and Ronan going in to save Taylor was just, after all of that time, and there was even a little cameo by Ford and John's guilt conscience, and there was just a lot of stuff going on in that episode. However, the absolute thing that pushes it over the edge was the birth of Taylor's baby, of which Rodney had to coach her through. I don't know, that's one of my absolute favorite scenes of Stargate Atlantis, period. If you could think of worst case scenario of somebody to deliver your baby, where John and Ronan are off fighting and doing what they gotta do, and you're stuck with Rodney. What a terrifying thought. But it all ended up okay, and it was just a great showcase going into season 5 how close this team really is to one another. Number 4 is the 2-parter of The Lost Boys and The Hive. I was a big fan of Ford. I know a lot of people didn't really care too much about him. I don't think anybody really hated him, but but I really liked him, and to see what happened to his character was really kind of tragic. So I really loved this 2-parter because of the fact, there were a lot of reasons. I thought everybody was kind of coming together, and yeah, of course we saw Ford again, which was really, really great. But I think it was mainly the fact that slowly but surely through this 2-parter, we saw Ford kind of revert back to the man we knew in season 1 and the man that Shepard really cared about. And yeah, they left Ford behind on that ship, and to this day, I think, I mean, I haven't looked it up recently, but that like anybody said anything about it, but to this day, we still don't know if Ford is alive or not. I think this is just a true testament to, you know, fans, and I guess it's kind of like a test to see if you are a glass half full kind of a fan or a glass half empty kind of a fan, whether or not you think he's alive or dead. It doesn't seem likely that he survived, but we never saw him die, so who knows? Number 3 is the two-parter. I got two-parters back to back of The Storm and the Eye. This was the episode in the middle of season 1 that I was like, this show's gonna be good. This was really, really good. The Janai show up and Koya shows up, and he really establishes himself as a really good adversary for kind of a secondary adversary in a sense, because the Wraith are the Wraith. But also it really kind of, I felt, established John as a really good hero for the cast. It's hard to fill Jack O'Neill's shoes in a sense, and I think that this was the episode where he kind of established himself as his own pretty badass character, which was really awesome. I think one of my favorite scenes was the Taylor-Sora fight, if you guys can even remember that far back, where Sora was positive that Taylor like killed her father, but Taylor didn't really, there was no hope, and there was just the Lord, and Sora just like comes at Taylor like, I'm gonna kill you, and Taylor's like, you're gonna lose, and the bitch did. So I think that also really just established her as a badass, and like Rodney was good under pressure, so it was weird, like the whole team under such dire circumstances really kind of showed up, and that's why I love this episode. Number 2 is actually Sunday. Now I know there's probably some of you, or the 2 people who are actually watching this far into the video, that's wondering why Sunday isn't number 1, and I will get to that in a bit, but this episode makes me cry my eyes out every single time I watch it. Carson is arguably one of the most liked characters in like sci-fi television. Like, he's amazing. He's one of my 2 favorites, and I love him so much. And this is, spoiler alert, like I said, the episode where he sadly dies. It turns, this whole episode does a complete 180, and it turns from being a pretty hilarious and lighthearted episode, which I love as well, to an insanely devastating episode. And you know, fans are just like so fucking pissed off that they killed off Carson that they had to bring him back in some way in later episodes. Like, it was, and the fact that he died saving a patient was, I guess, the way he would want to go, but just really tragic and just a testament to his character in general. And that last scene with the I should have gone fishing, I don't want to talk about it anymore. And the number 1 episode for me is The Shrine. This episode just, I think it's a masterpiece, and it really puts a spotlight on dementia, and I've dealt with I've known a few people with Alzheimer's disease and a few caretakers. I did a lot of work for the Alzheimer's Association as I was growing up, and I still donate all the time and do walks for them. So I think the reason why this is number 1 is because it just it really was just personal for me, I think. We see Rodney lose his memories and in a sense lose his mind. And for that to happen to Rodney is kind of especially tragic because his whole identity is his mind. Like, he won't shut up about it. His whole identity is his mind. And you just start seeing how much of a toll it's taken on his loved ones, which was another great showcase for what happens when somebody has to deal with any sort of memory loss. And yeah, it just really hit home for me. Whenever I go back and watch this episode, I just plant the tissues in front of me. The scene where they bring him to the shrine to say goodbye, and he gets furious that they didn't just leave him as he was and let him, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, but just leave him as he was until they found a cure. That he believes in science, he believes there's always a cure, and they, you know, essentially just gave up on him in his eyes was really, really sad. And the scene earlier on in the episode where Shepard and McKay share that beer, and McKay really wants to say goodbye to Shepard and tell him how much he means to him, and Shepard just doesn't want to hear it. It's a really heartbreaking scene. It's a really well done episode. It may not be everybody's favorite, but I think it just hits home for me, so that will always be kind of my #1 pick. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this top 10 video, or whoever of you actually made it all the way through. Stargate Atlantis is my favorite Stargate. I've seen them all, and I just love it so much. I know that most people like SG-1 better. I know that I'm in the minority, but yeah, I just love it so much, and I wanted to make a video about it because a couple people have said that they watched Stargate, and I was like, all right, I'll do one video on it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.